अरे उधर ही काटेंगे, उधर ही। बस 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 उधर। ये लाइट पैन करो उधर।
अरे तुम अपना लाइट मारो ना।
अरे लाइट घुमाना।
सेंटर सेंटर
लेंगे तो वेरी गुड। परफेक्ट परफेक्ट। हाँ मेरा सेंटर आ गया, मेरा सेंटर आ गया।
बस बस हो गया भाई।
और ले लो। हाँ और क्या, और क्या। हाँ और
नीचे थोड़ा कटिंग कटिंग
काटिए।
शिल्पा मैम यहाँ पर ऊपर ऊपर
शिल्पा मैम
वीडियो थाम दे ये दादा अरे कुछ फ्राई लेके यार
ये सारा केक आप लोगों के लिए भी है, ये इसको खाइए और करना चाहिएगा।
सुनील केक खाने के लिए
शिल्पा मैम वो संतोष को जरा केक खिलाइए।
बच्चे मुझे सोनी है।
मैंने बना लिया इससे पहले कि आप पूछें मुझे।
लाइट लाइट चाचा ने लाइट दिया।
किसी ने पैर निकाला, उधर से पैर निकाला, उधर पैर मारा रहे थे। सेंटर सेंटर शिल्पा जी सेंटर। ए भाई उधर स्पीकर है, उधर माइक रखना, सब निकाल के माइक इधर। माइक नहीं है,
स्पीकर ही नहीं है।
अरे उसके अंदर स्पीकर के अंदर उसके पास माइक नहीं है। ऑडियो में बोल रहे हैं।
जाओ क्या मैं जाओ क्या रुको मैं जा
रख दो सेंटर में रखो।
While you guys are putting the mic, एक common चीज जो आज हम लोग जिस बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे is that how wonderful is our Indian food. लेकिन हम लोग मतलब या कोई आगे कोई
टेबल सेंटर कर लो।
So we have somebody bust a few myths, but before that हम आपको अपनी new
अरे यार कौन बच्चा
BBC Earth's first birthday and the channel being number 1.
the best way of doing it.
Really, and the reason I got mentioned in this giving an intro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to reiterate.
Intent is the same.
Indeed.
ये एक्वाफीना निकाल दीजिए, ये पानी के बॉटल्स निकाल दीजिए।
I just want to
प्लास्टिक
reiterate.
बैंड है।
Two of the biggest names as health experts are here to celebrate Sony BBC Earth's first anniversary. So please, these are the few items. We will start with this. हम लोग इससे start करेंगे कि इसमें ऐसे क्या myths हैं जो actually हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि ये सारे food बहुत healthy है पर नहीं होते। और ऐसे फूड जो देखा जाता है बिल्कुल हेल्दी नहीं है पर एक्चुअली आर वेरी हेल्दी। घी उसका एक बहुत सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल है। तो ये तो मम्मी की रेसिपी है, बट ऑफ कोर्स आई विल एक्चुअली फर्स्ट हैंड इट ओवर टू शिल्पा who will tell you about everything about how wonderful our Indian food really is.
कहाँ पे, किस पे, ऐसी बात पे? Firstly, I have to take the opportunity to. It's not working. सुनाई तो दे रहा होगा आपको? हाँ, मेरी आवाज़ काफ़ी क्लियर है। First and foremost, very good afternoon to everyone, and I have to welcome Dr. Michael Mosley to our country. Or should I even say that, because you belong to India? I feel
Yes,
you were
no, I'm born out here.
हाँ, वो यहाँ पे पैदा हुए कलकत्ता में और परवरिश उनकी abroad हुई है. But I feel very happy that he believes in Indian food and the power that Indian foods have, and he propagates that with whatever little I've read about him,
yeah,
seen of him. I love the fact that there is someone out there in the West who's propagating Indian foods, and I welcome that. So welcome to India.
Thank
back
you.
again.
Yes.
And also have to take the opportunity to congratulate Sony BBC Earth on completing a year and being the #1 channel. Wow. So yes, I really believe that most people underestimate the power of food, and a lot of people think that hitting the gym is enough, and I've always said this, and I'm going to repeat myself, that it is 70% diet and 30% some kind of workout regime, whether it is yoga, cardio, and I think it's pretty much the same thing that even Dr. Mosley also says. So I'm going to leave it to you now,
sure,
because he is the doctor. And I think he speaks beautifully, and what he says makes a lot of sense, and it stayed with me.
Thank you.
And he's also the man behind the intermittent diet. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I have. I've followed it. I've never done it, but I do want to do it. I really believe that the benefits are huge. The whole 5:2 kind of diet
yeah,
plan is wonderful, where you eat for 5 days and 2 days in between you fast, which is pretty much a philosophy of Ayurveda. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely right.
Yes, so it again comes from the whole Indian ethos of eating. Please tell us more about that.
Thank you. Yes, so I mean, what is fantastic is coming back to India after all these years, having been born here. And it's not just the sort of Indian foods that I embrace, but also many of the Indian practices, which have now scientists become very interested in fasting, intermittent fasting, also mindfulness, meditation, and I believe you teach yoga, and I'm going to ask her to show me some yoga poses soon. But any other fans of yoga here? We now know that yoga is again incredibly good form of exercise, but also good for the mind as well as the body. So I think that, if you like, modern science is slowly catching up with things that have been known here in India for a couple of thousand years. The only thing I would say, which is kind of bad at the moment, is that you guys are heading towards type 2 diabetes at a very fast rate, and I think it's important to find ways to correct that, because one of the myths which is out there is that doctors have all the answers, and I'm afraid they don't. that a lot of your fate is in your own hands. And it's about discovering the foods and the lifestyle and the things which will restore you to balance. And that's really kind of what the programs I make are all about. And one of the things I always do is I do the experiments on myself. So the reason I got interested in nutrition is because 6 years ago I discovered that I was a type 2 diabetic, like my father. And I suspect like a lot of your fathers and mothers in this room, because almost everyone I've spoken to in India so far has a parent who's got type 2 diabetes. And the doctors will tell you that it is an irreversible disease and you have to keep on taking the medicines. And I can promise you that is not true. It is possible to reverse. I did the 5-2 diet, I lost 10 kilos. My blood sugars returned to normal, where they have stayed ever since. So as far as I'm concerned, I am cured. And that is a message I want to take out there.
That's wonderful, Doc. That's very, very inspiring. And the fact that you are just not preaching, you are actually practicing what you preach, which I really think is essential. क्योंकि बहुत लोग होते हैं कि कहते हैं कि ये आपको करना चाहिए, ये करना चाहिए, लेकिन आप अपनी ज़िंदगी कैसे जी रहे हैं? I think सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि आप एक अगर आप हेल्थ पूरी तरीके से इंजॉय करना चाहते हैं, मैं लाइफ नहीं बोल रही हूँ, मैं हेल्थ इंजॉय करना चाहते हैं का इस्तेमाल कर रही हूँ, बिकॉज हम हेल्थ को क्या है बहुत एक एपैथी सा है हेल्थ को लेके कि जब तक कुछ हो नहीं जाता हम लोग हेल्थ को सीरियसली नहीं लेते हैं. What I'm saying to them is that we don't take health seriously till we are diagnosed with an ailment.
Indeed.
And बहुत ही unfortunate बात है क्योंकि life is given to us for free, which is why I feel most people, don't know the value of it. तो ये जो apathy है health को लेके और जो diabetics हैं, अगर वो समझे कि वो reversible है और हो सकता है, अगर आप सालों से डायबिटिक है और बहुत ही हाईली डायबिटिक है तो ऑब्वियसली आपको डॉक्टरों का ज़्यादा मानना चाहिए. बट if you've just been diagnosed with diabetes and you are obese, you can reverse it.
Yes.
So
even if you're not obese, some people.
Yeah. You weren't. I know.
I wasn't. I'm what's
Exactly.
called a toffee, thin on the outside, fat inside. Lots of fat in there, which is, I'm afraid, a lot of particularly Indian men, when they put on the fat, they put it on around the tummy, and that's the worst sort.
So I think most importantly, I think what you're trying to focus on is when you said mindful eating. I think most people don't do mindful eating. We just eat whatever comes to our mind, you just eat that. So mindful eating is one of the first to-dos on the list if you want to enjoy better health. And for me, I really feel it's also a lifestyle modification that I have made in my life.
Yes.
You are someone who is a trained nutritionist, you have your degree. I unfortunately haven't done all of that, but I believe that I have experimented on myself, and I feel very proud about the fact that I feel healthier, I feel more alive today than I was even 12 years ago.
Indeed, feel alive.
Feeling alive, really. And I have seen the difference that food has made to me, the timings have made to me. So it is a lifestyle modification that I have made in my life, which I'm trying to propagate, and you are doing the same with people.
So Shilpa and Doc, can you talk about some of the
Indeed,
foods
some of the foods. So let's have a look. Eggs. Who thinks eggs are good for you? Who thinks they're bad for you? So for a long time, doctors have been telling us to cut down the eggs because they have cholesterol, but now we know that eggs are really good for you. I have a couple of eggs most mornings for breakfast, and I find it fills me up.
Yes.
So there we go. Eggs are brilliant.
You talk about the yellow in the egg, that most people think that the yellow isn't very good. Even if you don't have cholesterol, they take out the yellow for some reason. I just feel that just kills the whole taste and the properties in an egg,
It's crazy because basically that is where all the goodness is.
Exactly.
Because it's there to feed the chick.
Explain that to people.
Bonkersness. The other one is, let's see what we got. We've got some nuts here. You're fond of nuts?
I love nuts. I am nuts. But
these are walnuts, but
I love them.
Again, people think, nuts perhaps are bad for you because they have lots of fat in them, but walnuts are fabulous, aren't they?
I think it's the best snack that you can carry.
Yeah.
It's non-perishable for a really long time. In India, we have ants, so you have to make sure that it's like completely covered.
Now, I am guessing this is ghee.
No, I think it is.
Was it
Let me
butter?
smell it.
You gonna have a sniff? You think?
It's ghee.
Okay. What do you think about ghee?
I love clarified butter.
Any pet-
And in India, you get a better version, which is white butter,
Okay.
before you make it into ghee. So it's got butyric acid, which is great. It works like, it prepares your gut to digest food. I love it. It's in all my food. I have at least 1.5 teaspoons or 2 teaspoons of ghee every day on my brown rice.
Okay,
Every
brown
day.
rice, yeah.
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 Doc doesn't like rice.
No, I like brown rice. I just
Yeah, he
think,
likes brown rice.
Too much
White
white
rice,
rice.
yeah.
White rice is kind of like eating sugar.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's one of the bad things in the Indian diet.
Yes.
Too much white rice.
Yeah. No, true. But really, Doc, tell me, how much is the difference between, I think it would only be the fiber, or
Yeah.
is there that much sugar even in brown rice?
There is some, but it isn't so rapidly absorbed.
So the
the
glycemic
white rice
index
is like
lesser.
sort of consuming sugar, and we kind of know that sugar is not terribly good for you.
It's terrible.
White rice also has quite a lot of arsenic in it, so which is not terribly good. So you're much better off with lentils and with things like that, if you can cut down or shift to brown rice. I have
Yes.
children, and what we did is they didn't like brown rice, so we just put more and more brown in it until eventually they kind of got used to it.
Wonderful. You know, you're talking of lentils. I really love sprouted lentils.
Yeah.
I feel otherwise it tends to make you a little gaseous.
Indeed.
But in India, we use something called asafoetida,
Okay.
which is like a permanent fixture in all our kitchens for our lentils. Hing, हम हींग का बहुत ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करते हैं. बच्चों को अगर stomach upset होता है, so we actually use ghee and we put a bit of asafoetida
Right.
into the navel of the child, and it actually relieves them
Yeah.
of flatulence.
Okay.
So we do stuff like this in India, and it's been done for time immemorial, and even the West has started understanding the uses and the properties of spices like asafoetida, turmeric. Turmeric is
No,
huge.
we did an experiment on Trust Me because there's been a lot of interest. You cook a lot with turmeric, don't you? You call it turmeric or turmeric?
We call it haldi, but it's called
Haldi.
turmeric.
Different name.
Yeah.
But it has become incredibly fashionable
Yeah.
in the UK and in Sydney and America. Turmeric latte,
Yes.
you know, very popular.
Can you believe it?
But
Yeah.
what people have wondered is it really as good as people say? So we did a study on Trust Me, I'm a Doctor, where we got lots of people who don't normally eat it to eat it. And they put in their cooking. These were people who don't normally eat Indian food at all. And we also looked at the same time at their DNA. We did a special test. And what we found is there were improvements in about 3 months in some of the genes linked
Wow.
with things like cancer and inflammation.
Yeah.
And this is the first proper scientific study done looking at the benefits of turmeric.
Yes, yes.
But, and that was fabulous.
Yes, I think curcumin, which is a derivative of turmeric, is used widely to, rehabilitate cancer patients as well.
Indeed,
So-
they're doing some of the early studies in it now. It's interesting because all these sort of foods have been around for a long time. but
Exactly.
only more recently are people actually doing proper scientific studies. And the other one is coconut oil. We fans of coconut oil here? So I did a big experiment with Cambridge University, which is one of the best universities in the world. And the professor was convinced that the coconut oil would be really bad because it's a saturated fat, it would raise their cholesterol levels. So we did the experiment with over 100 people. And she was really, really surprised because it turned out that actually the people taking the coconut oil, they saw improvements in their cholesterol and also in inflammation. And this was the exact opposite of what she was expecting. But they published it in a big scientific journal.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about doing programs like Trust Me, I'm a Doctor,
Yeah.
is you
I
come
saw
across
that
stuff.
episode. I have
Yeah.
to say, I loved the fact that you divided them into 3 groups, and you saw, the relevant difference between even the olive oil and the coconut oil, literally nearly 10%.
Absolutely.
So it brought down cholesterol levels to literally 5% with people who had olive oil, and with coconut oil it came down by nearly 15%. Well done, yeah. Look at that. So, I mean, it's terrible sometimes as an Indian for me to sit back and see that people are cooking their foods in all kinds of oils, and we are scared to use what we actually call superfoods in the West.
Yes.
You know. So I was actually at another event, and I brought it to everyone's notice that when I went to Holland and Barrett, coconut oil and clarified butter, which is ghee, is put on the top shelf, and we are cooking, I mean, with due respect to olive oil, which I feel has a very low heating point, we're cooking Indian food in those oils and, you know, all the other kinds of oils that we have. So I really wish people went back to the roots. And I really feel that even right up to, like, you know, 70 years ago, Indians led far healthier lives than the lives we're leading today.
I'm afraid so.
You know?
Now I want to, yoga is obviously something you're into. I want you to show me a yoga pose then.
Come on then.
Any other yoga fans here?
सब लोगों से कराते हैं. सब लोग कितने हिले हुए देखती हूँ मैं.
Right, she's going to demonstrate.
So this is one experiment that Dr. Mosley has also actually done worldwide.
So
Actually we should start with you.
Absolutely.
Can I?
So we know.
Because he's known for experiments, he'll do one experiment next time.
So this is. So we know.
Dr. Mosley, please can you perform one of the experiments that
so we know how important it is to have good. We know how important it is to have, you know, to go running, to go walking, good for the heart and lungs, and good for the muscle. Are we good? You good at squats?
Yeah, I love
There we go, squats, exactly.
This is for my ass.
Squats are very, very good for the ass.
Yeah.
But the one which most people neglect is balance. So you're going to demonstrate.
So what Doc does is normally this, okay?
Yeah, so I do this one.
Whoa!
I'm going to fall over!
Great exercise for balance. I said, let's do the original, which is called Tadasana, which everybody knows.
Look at that balance. Fantastic.
Yeah, but it's slippery.
Doc, I think you should do it not.
I'm not sure I can do it with you. I think I have to lean against there. I mean, I am not. I need a bit more training. Whoa! So this is how you should do it.
It's the score.
It's fantastic. And can you keep it up for ages?
I can. I can actually do it better without clothes.
Okay.
But we can't do
I think I would.
ये ना कपड़े ना slip हो जाते हैं. This fabric is really not helping me.
I think I could probably outdo you at press-ups. I'm confident I could do more press-ups than you, but not necessarily.
Don't challenge me, dog. Yeah. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank
you. And one last myth, if you can bust around fruit. Fruit we all think is very, very healthy, but is it really true?
So unfortunately, the mango is delicious. Yeah. Mangoes are delicious, and mango season is coming soon. Do you eat the mango with the skin? Some people do.
Well, I wouldn't suggest that in this time and age where everything is ripened with chemicals.
So unfortunately, the mango has a lot of sugar in it.
Yes.
So not the world's healthiest food, unfortunately, in the end, but delicious.
But then, Doc, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? There was this other myth that I heard about, because it's full of B vitamins, and you know, it's very. They say it's very, very nutritious, but this whole myth about being diabetic.
Yeah.
And they said that if you could actually go onto a fruit diet, and if you ate loads of fruit, you could actually cure yourself of even diabetes.
Okay.
So that's another myth. You have to do another thing on that.
Oh, absolutely. That is a total myth, unfortunately. Fruit juice is much worse than fruit because it has no fiber in it, and it's very bad for your sugar levels. And eating a load of fruit is very, very bad for diabetics. Because it's a load of fructose in it, which gets turned to fat.
But that is the myth. I don't even know what to believe anymore, because you know, I read this I read a piece on it. I also saw an entire documentary on it where they actually said that doctors would tell you that don't eat fruit, but if you actually began to eat more portions of fruit, the right kind of fruits, you would actually be able to reverse diabetes. So I don't know how much of the
I think it's wildly
it's weird. So I don't. There's so many researchers out there. One minute they say that dairy is bad for you. The next minute they'll say, oh, milk is what is the best thing that's happened to human beings. Then they say, Then they say.
That's why you have to watch Trust Me, I'm a Doctor, because you have to trust us.
Yeah, you have to
we
trust
know what
him
we're
because he's a
talking
doctor.
about. Honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Shilpa
Thank you.
and
Excellent.
Michael will
Well
bust a couple of few more myths in the other room, but mostly, of course. If you have any questions related to this, please
Are you good at the plank as well?
Do you have any questions?
I know you do. Women on the whole press-ups are not. So can you do press-ups? Okay. How many then?
Around 20.
Okay, I can just about beat you then. I can do 40. So.
Not bad. That's
not bad.
Guys,
Yeah.
we have a question.
You are beating me on the balance by a long way. I reckon I can do twice as many press-ups as she can, but we that's because men have more muscle. But
they'll want to see this, no? Tell me. Hi.
I had a question for you. I even asked the doctor that today a lot of people feel that either you should follow only protein diets or not eat carbohydrates at all. Now some people say you should turn vegan, not consume dairy products at all because dairy products add to a lot of weight. So according to you, because you I think is one of fitness person who we have seen and you look young as ever. So,
Without
what
Botox.
what do you have to say on this?
Well, I just have one line to say. Just keep it simple. I just think that unfortunately, carbs have been vulgarized, and I love my carbs. Carbs is what gives you fuel. But choose the right carbs,
Lentils.
Exactly. Lentils, vegetables, root vegetables. I love potatoes. Even potatoes, people run away from potatoes. Don't have them fried, have them boiled. They're actually great for your body because they're alkaline foods. And beetroots. I love carbs. I have sourdough bread in the morning. I stay away from, stuff that is mass produced. I like stuff that is made in small kitchens, made from scratch. I do. But I have bhais ka doodh, which has more iron, more than cow's milk. Shoot me. I'm trying to reduce even on that. Again, there are so many myths. The one thing that I've really changed in my life over the last 3 weeks recently is cutting down on sugar, which has been a huge modification, and Doctor will elucidate on that.
I love sugar. I try to cut it down.
Yeah,
it's incredibly addictive.
It is addictive, and they say sugar has the same effect as cocaine. You just get addicted to it, and it is so scary that
I was on Elephant Island yesterday, and the monkeys there are obviously addicted to sugar because they're just grabbing the ice creams from all the tourists.
Yeah.
And I have a photograph of a monkey with 2 ice creams in his face. And I was just thinking, poor bloody monkeys, they're going to get diabetes and lose their teeth.
Exactly.
And they just love it. And we know that if you offer animal sugar, rats, monkeys, they will eat huge amounts of it. And the same is true of humans.
Exactly. So that is the one thing that you need to start reducing and becoming aware of, because it is poison. And so much so that I've actually taken out sugar from my son's life.
I bet he complained.
No, you know what, Doc? It's what you teach your child.
I know.
So it's pretty difficult in a time and age where every mall, every place that you go to buy something, the counter has lollipops, gummy bears, wine gums, and it's very, very tempting for a little child because he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. But you have to tell him and explain to him that, this is going to make you hyperactive. They say that a spoon of sugar brings down your immunity for the next 6 hours. So imagine what that does to your body. So
and
it is
teeth.
scary.
So that's some food for thought that we are leaving you with. Thank you so much, everyone. I will be sending Hamara Naya brand film to all of you. Please try and play it. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
अब क्या यार?
Sorry. One second. I have to give them a point.
Well done.
Lovely match.
And you. Thank you. I look forward to
I have to give a point. एक second.
Like, share and subscribe to TVNXT Bollywood.